Well, hey everybody. Welcome to the update preview stream. This is Bugs here. I'm joined today by Artemis and Miss D. Say hi, guys.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, guys.
So, what do we got going on today? Well, we are halfway through the month, just about, in Rust development, and we're over here on the normal staging branch showing off a couple new items. And on top of that, there's some exciting world updates afoot and some various other Hack Week projects. And as always, we're going to go through everything we know about what's going on in Rust development for the week and the month. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to do at Miss D underscore, that's me in chat. And we'll get to as many questions as we have the opportunity to. Also, real quick before we get into development news, for those wondering what's going on with server wipes today, well, for Rustafied servers, it is the weekly and bi weekly Thursday wipe servers wiping today. And they're wiping at their regular scheduled time, which means most regions have already wiped as it's 3 p.m. local time for the region. So that means AU and SEA wiped 11, 12 hours ago. EU wiped 3 hours ago, and US servers will wipe at 3 p.m. Eastern, so in just 2 hours. And again, it's the weekly and bi weekly Thursday wipes, so that's your mains, your mediums, your trios, your minis, your solos, and the like. And as always, if you want to know specifically what the maps are or when the servers are wiping for each server, go to our Discord, rustified.com/Discord, and check out the server information channel as we have all that information in there. So first and foremost, we have a new item. The digital clock is over here on staging, and this is a cool one. So this is a clock that shows the in-game server time. But along with that, it also gives you the ability to set alarms. And the alarms have a pass through. So when the alarm goes off, you can have it trigger certain electrical items in the game. And that's a pretty cool thing. So you can set up, just audible alarms, or you can say, hey, close all the doors at this time, or turn on the lights, or whatever you want with this cool alarm. Now, the digital clock does allow for 5 total alarms, so you can have a variety of different triggers throughout the day. It is, as you would expect, a 24-hour clock that displays an hour, minute format. And do keep in mind, this is placeholder artwork for the time being from what we're seeing. So this isn't necessarily the final form of this digital clock, but the functionality appears to be in there, and it looks like it's going to be a really cool addition to the game. Now, as far as crafting is concerned, it's at the moment 100 metal frags, and it's a level 2 workbench item, so a tier 2 item. And now keep in mind, this could change. Everything's a work in progress, so, subject to change, as we say here. But it is definitely coming along and a really cool new addition to the game. Oh, and it requires power, 1 power. So it's cheap from an electrical standpoint, but you do got to power it up. And then it does have that pass through so that you can have it trigger different things. Now, also on the list of things being worked on, there is a blowpipe making some good progress. So this is going to be a new low tier weapon in the game. I imagine, given it's using bone darts, it's going to be pretty stealthy. It probably won't be too damaging, but it looks like by default there's going to be some bone darts. So maybe a new use for bones going on here with this blow dart. And on top of that, it looks like some other types of darts are being worked on, including a slow movement dart and an obscure vision dart. So maybe some poison tipped darts are in the works as well for this. Now, it is still being worked on a separate branch, so no visuals yet and no details about pricing or anything like that. But definitely a new, cool, likely low tier, stealthy weapon in the works in the form of blowpipe. Now, also, when it comes to base decoration, it looks like we're going to have some cool new options, especially for the inside of bases, as we've got wallpaper just hitting staging this week as well. Now, this is still very much an active work in progress. So, yesterday on staging, we were able to get a yellow, a red, and a blue wallpaper. Now, today on staging, we've seen the yellow and the red get removed as default options, and the actual default blue is got a little more texture to it. So if you looked at the screenshot on rustafied.com, it is already outdated compared to what we're seeing on staging today. Now, on top of the default wallpaper option, it looks like there's going to be some other wallpapers, including a subway tile with a cool blue kind of line or strip on it, and potentially various other wallpaper options coming at some point in the near future. Now, the wallpaper is a default blueprint item, so you don't need to research it or anything like that. And at the moment, it's just 20 cloth to craft and crafts in 5 seconds. So, pretty cheap, pretty easy to get these up and going across your base. They only go on the inside walls of bases, so you're not going to be able to slather wallpaper around the outside. And it thankfully doesn't prevent upgrading or anything like that. The wallpaper can be removed pretty easily, and it also gets destroyed pretty easily if you just whack it with a hatchet about 6 or 7 times. I think where you're seeing that wallpaper get removed. So it's definitely not a super permanent thing, but it is a cool new addition when it comes to stylizing the inside of your bases. And we do expect this wallpaper, along with the digital clock, to go live for the September update. And that is actually 3 weeks from today on September 5th. And I want to take this opportunity to note that this is a unique month where there are 5 Thursdays in the month. We hit this a couple times a year, and sometimes it confuses people because they're expecting a forced update and wipe every 4 weeks, but we've got one extra week this month. And so, what that does mean for the bi weekly Thursday wipe servers is they wipe today and they will wipe again 2 weeks from today. And then they will have, for the final week of the month and into next month, a 1 week wipe cycle. So, that's just a heads up as you're planning your wipes for the rest of the month and into September. Do note that the bi weeklies wipe actually 3 times this month when it comes to Rustafied bi-weekly servers. Now, also on the list we have is the World Update. Now, this is a really exciting body of work that's actually on the aux 2 branch. Now, aux 2 is not available to us yet. I'm hoping that they open it up to players at some point in the future. We might have to wait until September for that. World Update is not coming in September, but word on the street is October will be kind of the World update, so to speak. And over on this branch, we're seeing a whole bunch of changes and additions to the procedural map generation system of the game. So we've got, along with the legacy Rad Town, which you've probably heard of, and there were some visuals the other week that we saw. It's a cool new Rad Town that is a throwback to the Rad Towns of Legacy, and it's kind of bifurcated by a road, and it's got about 8 outbuildings. It'll have some radiation, and it's surrounded by a stone wall. We're not sure if it's going to have any scientist NPCs or other adversaries in there quite yet, but it is definitely going to be not only a nostalgic throwback to the days of Legacy, but also a cool new opportunity for looting when it comes to the map. Now, on top of that being on the World Update branch, it looks like we are seeing the addition of some lakes being added, some canyons being added, maybe even some oases and even a jungle biome being added here. Along with that, there are revamped cliffs and new lush foliage and various ocean based foliage like seaweed and stuff being added as well. And when it comes to the ocean, there's also going to be some dive sites and an ocean wreck buoy. So, a lot more exploration opportunities when it comes to the water based activities in the game. So, overall, this is going to be the largest update to procedural map generation we've seen in years. It looks like it will add a lot more contrast and variability to the overall vibe of procedurally generated maps. And with the addition of canyons and lakes and everything like that, a lot more cool opportunities for base building and exploration. So, really excited about this. Super excited to see what it looks like. Some people are already kind of pseudo hacking it, as in you can load up an aux2 server and then save that map and then load that map into the normal staging branch and get a sense of the topological changes and things like that going on. We're not bothering doing that quite yet because I don't want to misrepresent anything. And more power to the people doing this and showing this off as like a base representation and initial work in progress thing. But when you do that, it does miss out on so many textures and so many assets that are new and being added. So it's getting comments like, oh, well, that lake doesn't look like it's filled up properly, or that looks bland, or whatever. And it's like, yeah, of course, because it's not a proper representation of aux2. But nevertheless, as we've seen in the past with the aux2 branch, generally what they'll do is they'll merge some more large long term projects into that branch, keep it hidden or inaccessible, let me say, to the overall public for several weeks. And then when it's at a closer point of readiness for public testing, what they'll do is often open up aux2 to make it available for people to play, or they'll just merge aux2 into normal staging and open it up that way for people to test it out. So as soon as that comes about, we will definitely get a bunch of pictures and all this stuff and get a short video going to show you all the new cool features of this world update coming. And again, we do think that is coming for the October update in Rust. So stay tuned for some more information on that. Now, also this week, as we saw happen and start up last week, we're seeing a continuation of Hack Week. And if you're unfamiliar at this point, Hack Week is basically where the developers are able to put down whatever they've been tasked with, whatever projects they had on their list, and they're able to just work on whatever they think would be a great addition to the game. And we very often in the past seen some really cool, unique features get added to the game that were originally Hack Week projects. And so it's always cool to see a Hack Week take place. And generally speaking, a Hack Week isn't exactly a week. Sometimes Hack Week projects will go on for a couple weeks, and that's normally indicative that they're actually going to make it into the game. Now, for this Hack Week that we're seeing this month, we're seeing a bunch of cool stuff, including a Bandit King race. And based on the commits on this one, it looks like it's going to be an NPC initiated race at Bandit Camp where you will race, I believe, an NPC around the map and get a prize if you win. That's the idea from what we're able to suss out. Now, also for Hack Week, we've got box sorting. And this is just a sorting mechanism for starting off with large wooden boxes, but will probably be added to other storage types before it goes live in the game. And what you do is just apply a storage adapter to the large wood box, and then you can drag whatever items you want in there and then select different sorting settings. You can turn sorting on and then hit sort, and you can choose from a couple different settings, including alphabetical or reverse, or the category settings based on the F1 inventory categories. There's even potentially going to be a sorting setting that kind of just takes a screenshot of how you've sorted the box already and then tries to sort in that manner going forward. And sorting also provides some cool things like auto combining stacks and various other things. So, yeah, a really cool feature. It's kind of, as you think about it, surprising that it's not in the game already because it's such a useful feature. And it is one of the Hack Week projects that I not only really want to make it into the game, but I do think will make it into the game at some point in the future. I don't have my bets set on it launching in September, but I think at some point later this year, we'll probably see box sorting come in. Also, there's work on a colorblind accessibility option, which is basically just a new screen on the escape options menu that allows for people who are colorblind to select various different color options when it comes to different elements, colored elements in the game, such as that marker for the mini game on trees or the friend color for the team UI or the enemy color and things like that. So that should be a really cool new feature for people who suffer from color blindness to be able to just see various elements of the game better. Next on the Hack Week list, there is a scrap plane being worked on. And this could be the first fixed winged aircraft we see actually enter the game, the first player controlled one at least. And no visuals yet. This was actually a project that was originally started over a year ago and then went into concept limbo for a period of time. But with this latest Hack Week iteration, we've seen it get pulled out of that concept limbo basket and be worked on again. So that could be a cool new vehicle to enter the game at some point in the future. There's also work continuing on the FP Rust Edit project, and this is going to be a more versatile tool for custom map makers to be able to work with the various elements and things in the game to allow them to create custom maps. And this is really exciting because the custom map scene right now has kind of stalled a little bit due to some various macro elements and things like that. And it's one of the reasons that we actually rebranded and shifted off custom maps on our ZenLab servers because it was just very hard to reliably run a custom map without it breaking and requiring a bunch of manual user intervention. But nevertheless, I think custom map making is a huge positive thing in the game. I think it has so much potential, especially for the longevity of the game. And it's really cool to see this FP Rust edit being worked on because that could be the thing that allows custom map making to really make a resurgence in the game. And so I'm excited about that project and looking forward to seeing how that comes along. There's also continued work on the Arabic language support. So, there's different languages and translations in the game, including the pirate one. Well, Arabic was missing and it soon will be added. There's also the car radio functionality, which basically takes the functionality of a portable boombox and puts it into the cockpits of each car in the game. And so that will enable people to be able to drive around and listen to tunes and various things like that as they roam the plains of Rust in their cars. And that's another one I think will make it into the game. I think it's a really cool addition and excited to see it. Then there's some work on optimizations and cleanup. And a lot of this is happening on the derp clean branch, which is another Hack Week project. And this is basically just code cleanup and optimizations. So, as the game is now over 10 years old and it's had any number of different developers work on different things throughout the years, inevitably the code base will get a little bloated, a little unoptimized, and require some spring cleaning, so to speak. And so that's what this project appears to be aimed at. And it's a really welcomed project to be worked on because This type of code cleanup will not only allow the game to run smoother and more optimized, but also more stable. And stability and optimization is an ongoing issue with the game. We deal with, as we're hosting servers, we deal with memory leaks and various AI related issues that can cause server crashes. And also, of course, you need a really beefy computer still to run this game. So the more we see stability get added and optimization get worked on, the more this opens up the game for a broader player base and allows a smoother experience for all those playing the game. There's also some new lights being worked on, and this looks like it's going to be potentially some fairy lights getting added, an industrial fluorescent light getting added, and maybe even a new deployable spotlight getting added. So that's a cool one and could really, especially the fairy lights, could really add towards the base decoration vibes with the addition of wallpapers and various other DLC skins and things like that. And then finally, we've saw resurgence this week of the Meals Hack Week project, which was a Hack Week project originally started in a previous Hack Week. I believe it was in the beginning of this year. And there was a lot of cool things being done with the idea of taking various raw ingredients and cooking them together, ideally to create a meal that gives you better health benefits and things like that. So we're seeing some commits to that just resurface today, which could mean that at some point in the future we could have more complex cooking elements in the game, and that ideally would give better benefits to those who took the time to cook those meals. And I think that's another really just good addition to the game. It really speaks to the core vibe of the game and would be nice to see. Now, there's a bunch of other stuff being worked on as well. We continue to see more work on this AI wolf iteration. And so they are really just completely reworking how wolves are interacting with the environment and players. Now, no visuals or examples of this yet, but in the previous weeks, we've seen things get added like a wolf howl and wolves coordinating their attacks on different groups of people and really working together more as a pack. And this week we're seeing a continuation of that. And in addition, their reaction to torches. So if a wolf comes up and you pull out a torch, maybe that'll startle it or delay it briefly. So it's cool to see the AI of the game get really built out more and become more dynamic. And I do believe this is a project that is just one phase of a broader scope where we'll continue to see the AI elements of the game get improved on over time. We're also continuing to see progress on the upcoming Frontier Hazmat DLC. It looks like with this, there's going to be a high caliber revolver and a Frontier hatchet, along with a hazmat suit that is gauged more towards that Frontier look and feel. The Frontier uh, skin that we've seen and the Frontier items DLC that we've seen, it'll be in that vein based on what we're seeing in the commits. So I imagine that DLC is forthcoming in the next month or two, and we'll keep you posted as more comes to light with that. They're doing some more updates on animal ragdolls, and this is just once an animal dies and the ragdoll body is there. They're just making improvements on different points of that and making it probably more natural and just less just raw dog ragdolly, I guess. And they're doing some more work on Jungle Ruins, which looks like it'll be the main focal point as far as a monument is concerned for the upcoming jungle biome. And so that's going to be a cool new point of interest along the map and kind of, as I said, like the focal point potentially of this new biome that we've heard about a little bit, the jungle biome. Also, in the jungle ruins and potentially just in the biome, it looks like we're going to see some new animal types, including crocodiles and snakes. Those are the two that we've seen so far. So it really stands to add a whole new type of area and more contrast to the map when we see this jungle elements get added in. And they did a fix for map markers getting deleted when right clicking pings on the map screen. So that's just a nice little fix we'll see go in for the September update. They're also doing various map performance fixes, which speaks similar to the derp clean project, where it's always nice to see optimizations and improvements to stability and performance in the game. So nice to see that. We saw a couple commits around this new explosions, explosions 2.0, and that I believe is just going to be improved visuals for the explosions because the explosions at the moment still use kind of a janky group of, you know, image assets that are kind of, low poly. They're kind of pixelated and things. And so at this stage in the game, with so many other things looking so great in the game, I think it does make sense and will be a welcome addition to see some improved higher fidelity explosion effects. There's also more work on the Blunderbuster weapon. This appears like it's going to be a new type of shotgun, probably a high powered single shot, low tier shotgun. And yeah, we're seeing more commits on that. No visuals yet, and no word on when that will make it in the game, but progress does seem to be coming along nicely. So I imagine in the next month or so, we'll probably see that enter the game. In the realm of fixes and quality of life changes, they made it so the traveling vendor no longer marks sleepers as hostile should they sleep near the road long enough. So that means the traveling vendor won't come through and just murder an innocent sleeper sleeping by the side of the road. There's also some more improvements to server side analytics. And this also speaks to the stability and optimization bodies of work, where, in order to see what is not performing properly or up to snuff and what is going wrong, it's important to have hindsight into that, some visibility into that. And that is where server analytics come in. So they're through these analytics ideally able to see some more instances of where bottlenecking is happening, where performance is stalling, and specifically where servers are crashing. And through getting the insight into when this is happening, that gives them the ability to go in and fix it better. So that's nice to see. They're also doing some more improvements to the building errors system. And this is also very likely coming in the September update. And it's just a whole new realm of toast notifications for when you're building, and specifically when you're trying to build and you can't because you're too close to a road or there's something already there. And it's just a much better visual identification for what's going wrong. It not only, instead of appearing in in-game chat, which is easy to get lost, appears in these new toast UIs in the bottom center of the screen, but it also is being much more verbose in the reasoning for the building being blocked. So especially for new players trying to build stuff, it will be a lot easier for them to figure out what they're doing wrong and why the thing they're trying to build can't be placed there because it has a bunch more options and a bunch more instances and is much more verbose about why the building can't be placed when you try to place something. And so, yeah, we've just seen a number of new improvements to that over this week as well. And again, I do believe that whole system is coming in for the September update. And they're also improving some train uncoupling behavior. So, just when the trains need to separate from each other, some improvements to how that works. And I'm sure people will be happy to hear some more improvements to horse physics. So, hopefully, riding horses and how you interact with horses in the game and how those horses interact with the terrain will hopefully be further improved in a future update. Not sure if that's going to be September or October, but nevertheless, it is being worked on actively. And also, don't forget the Twitch drops are still live. The latest Twitch campaign, the home brewed round 32 of Twitch drops, does have another 3 days and roughly 5 hours left. So if you haven't gotten those drops, make sure to get all the generic drops by just tuning into anyone streaming Rust. And then also make sure to check out the streamer specific drops. And for all that, go to twitch.facepunch.com, make sure to link your accounts first and foremost. And then on there, you can see, especially when the streamer specific drops are streaming, and grab those drops because it's a great opportunity too. And that about does it for what's going on in Rust development for the week. Ms. D, do we have any questions from the audience?
Not a whole lot, but we have a few. Is the new prop gen on staging now?
It is not on normal staging. It is on aux 2, which sometimes is available to the public for consumption and testing, and other times it is not. And this is in the latter of those times. So aux 2 is unavailable at the moment. Now, they'll probably either open it up for people to test out, or they might just merge aux 2 into normal staging. And I could see that happening after the September 5th update and forced wipe. That might be a good opportunity for them now that the staging branch that they've been working on this month goes live September 5th. They might just choose to merge the world update stuff into normal staging, or potentially, given the scale of how many things are changed, they might just open up aux 2 for everyone to join before that and have the public start testing. But either way, it's not available for public consumption at the moment. If you are seeing people posting screenshots of aux 2 or of the world update, do note that that's kind of done via a kind of hacky way where they load up an aux 2 server, save the map, and then load that map up on a normal staging server. When you do that, it does give you a sense of the topology and the changes to the overall layout of the map, as in you can see where some lakes and canyons are going to be. But do note that that is missing a whole slew of assets that are also included in the aux 2 branch. And so it's not really an accurate representation of what those changes are going to be, which is why we're not bothering doing that at the moment. But aux 2 not available yet, and that's where the world update stuff is. But I do expect in the couple weeks in front of us, we will see that become available for public consumption and testing.
Someone was asking if you are from Canada.
No, I am not from Canada, but very often when I travel the world, I allow people to think I'm Canadian because sometimes people from America get a bad reputation. But then I found out as you travel the world, uh, it's really the Brits that have the worst, the worst reputation when it comes to travelers. They're like, "Oh, at least you're not British." I heard that I don't know how many times when I've been traveling abroad. But no, I'm American. I'm from the good old U.S. of A.
All right. Has there been any updates on the personal water vehicles and route gestures?
Yeah, the DPVs, the diver propulsion unit, is something that I fear and I hope it hasn't slipped into concept limbo, but we haven't seen much on it recently. And I think that might just be waiting until the October update when the world update goes live, because one of the key features of the world update is, in fact, the new dive site and ocean wreck buoys. And it seems like the DPV would be a great kind of addition to help individuals explore those new dive sites. So I could see logically how they would wait until October to release that, even though it was on staging and it was pretty much ready to go. I know it wasn't driving exactly and it wasn't controlling exactly how they wanted, but it did look like it was 90+% done. And so I wouldn't be surprised if we see the DPV in October. As far as the crude gestures, I'm really not sure with that. I know the gestures were in and then they were kind of working on how the UI would handle it. And the one thing I did see, I forget where it was posted, but it was some functionality that allowed you to have multiple pages of gestures, so to speak, kind of similar to how when you're building, you can select different building skins. It was a little reminiscent of that, but I haven't seen much on the crude gestures in the past week or so either. Wondering if that's going to be a DLC or if that's just waiting for a later release date and finalization of the UI of it and how that's going to be managed. So we'll keep you posted, but haven't heard much on that in the past week or so.
Is there any news about anti-cheat?
Well, not really. It's in the past week, still in a very similar place that it was last week, where we know Facepunch is working on it. And we have seen in the past month, we've seen some improvements to anti cheat in that we're banning less hackers, but the number of hackers we're banning is still in the hundreds per day. And so it's almost like if your basement was flooded and it was flooded 2 feet of water, and then someone came in and was like, oh, it's better now. And you go down there and there's still 1 foot of water in your basement. It's like, thanks, but we still need more. And so at Rustafied, what we're doing, we just brought on a bunch of new people, a bunch of new moderators to help. We're working on a new reporting system, which is going to be more proactive and allow for better communication with the players. And we're working on our internal anti cheat solutions, which have certain triggers that will get rid of people automatically. And we're also working with a third party anti cheat system that is being improved week by week. And so it's all to say at Rustified, we're doing everything we can to remove hackers from the game as quickly as possible, but it is still an issue plaguing the game. And I am very appreciative of the work that Facepunch is doing and their additional focus on it over the past month or so. And we have seen some improvements, which are great to see, but it is still a very large issue that needs to be addressed because I assert it's the biggest problem with the game right now. And so I look forward to a time in the near future where I can report that we're only banning maybe 10 people a day. If we have like 37 some odd servers and we're only banning like 10 people a day for hacking, that's tenable. But having to ban 150 to 250 people a day for hacking, that's still, well, untenable. And so hopefully we continue to see improvements, but I am thankful to say I know Facepunch and EAC are working on it. So I look forward to being able to report on further improvements to that.
Mm. Is the purple hazmat suit coming out, or is it just for the devs?
I believe that's just for the devs.
I Yeah, it was some
That was for an
Twitch
event.
rivals.
Yeah, that was
Twitch
for a Twitch
rivals. Yeah.
Rivals event. Yeah.
Mm. No questions. Let's do a recap. Actually, I have a question.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
there any other news on Rustafied with stats and stuff on the website?
Yeah, well, I am happy to say we're working on the MVP of our stats system. I'm really excited on how that's coming along. Stats has been a very highly requested thing on our servers for a while now, and I've been unwilling to just launch something that not only is just kind of basic and what everyone else has, but on top of that, something that risks hindering performance on the servers because it's trying to gather too much information. But we did have several breakthroughs with our ingest system on gathering all the events off our servers without having any negative impact on performance. And then with that, we've been actively building out the front end of this MVP, this minimum viable product of a stats system. So it's going to have leaderboards and it's going to have an individual stats page where you can see over day, week over week, wipe over wipe, month over month, how your stats are, your kill to death, your accuracy, your things like that. And then over the next year, we have a massive plan to really further that stats, create heat maps, create different historical events mapped over an actual in game version of the map. And we're going to have a bunch of features that are available only to our VIP customers to really allow further insight into your gameplay on our servers. And so I'm super excited about that. We're hoping to have an MVP launched in fall, and that will be, it might be a closed beta at first, and then we will have a free system for everyone to use. And then we're going to quickly start building out VIP specific features so that we can really give something special and further insight to our VIP customers. So I'm really excited about that, and I'll keep you up to date as more comes to light with that. Also, we do have Charitable Rust, our yearly charity event. This is going to be the 10th year running. Mark your calendars, it's October 12th. That's going to be a Saturday in October. And with that, we're going to have a whole huge day of activities, a custom server with a 2x vanilla gameplay wipe, and a bunch of prizes and just activities you can only do at Charitable Rust. And it's all to support the cause of direct relief. And this is an amazing organization that brings aid to people in conflict zones and in most need around the world. And given all the conflict and various other things going on in the world this year, especially, we're really excited to be supporting this organization. So we'll have more information about Charitable Rust and some previews and stuff like that coming in the coming weeks. Also, a huge thank you to all the skin creators who worked on the skin contest. That skin contest did close out at the beginning of this month, and we're in the process of working with Facepunch to pick the skin finalists and everything like that. So those will be the skins for the Twitch drops and the skins on the item store, the proceeds of which go towards this amazing cause as well. And so, we're really excited about how Charitable Rust is shaping up this year. And stay tuned for some more information on that. In the meantime, just mark your calendars, October 12th. It's going to be all Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern to 11 p.m. And it's going to be a great time. And I look forward to it. And yeah, with that, I'll give a little recapity cap here. We're over here on the staging branch, and this is normal staging. And there's a couple new items on there. We are 3 weeks out from the September 5th update. And so I do want to once again note that the bi weekly server wipes for Rustafied are a little different this month. They actually have 3 wipes. So they wiped on Forced, they wiped again today, and they'll wipe again in 2 weeks. And then from there, they'll have just a 1 week wipe cycle until the update and Forced wipe comes out. So that's what's going on the bi weekly wipe servers. But over here on normal staging, we do have a digital clock that's been added. The artwork is still placeholder, so we expect the visuals of this to change. However, the functionality appears to be really rock solid in there. And what it is a digital clock that shows the actual in-game time in 24-hour format, and then you can actually add up to 5 alarms, and the alarms link up to an electrical output. So you can actually use this to trigger various things like have a light go off or some sounds go off, or even say, hey, I want to turn on my electric furnaces at this time or turn them off at this time. And so, really cool, unique possibilities arise from just having this pretty simple digital clock in the game. It's 100 metal frags at the moment to craft and a tier 2 item, so level 2 workbench required. All of this is subject to change, of course, but it is a really cool addition, and I'm happy to see it added to the game. There's also a blowpipe in progress. This no visuals yet, still on a separate branch, but looks like it's going to be kind of a low tier weapon that will probably be kind of stealthy. That by default you'll be able to blow what is it, bone darts. But then also it looks like they're working on some poisoned darts which will either slow movement and or obscure vision. So could be a cool new addition, stealthy early game addition to the game. So we'll keep you posted as more comes to light on that. No word on when that will be coming in. Also, there's wallpaper in the works, and this is going to be for decorating your bases in game. And it's a cool default blueprint item that just costs 20 cloth to craft and takes 5 seconds to craft, and then you can place it on any inside walls in your base. And then with the spray can, you'll be able to select different skins with it. At the moment, we're only seeing the default skin there, which is a blue kind of textured skin. Yesterday on staging, there was a yellow and a red skin as well. And apparently, from what I've seen on Twitter, there's also a subway skin being worked on, which has some cool shiny tiles and even a blue kind of bar. So this really opens up the possibility for A whole new realm of base decoration. It would be really cool if they get the community involved in creating skins for wallpapers, and so people could have a whole new vibe inside their base. So it does look like that's coming in for the September update, so we'll keep you posted as more comes to light. Also, a really exciting project is the World Update body of work, which is over on the Aux 2 branch. And this is the biggest changes to procedural map generation we've seen in years in the game, along with adding in the new Rad Town, the Legacy Rad Town, which is the throwback to those Rad Towns of Legacy. There's a bunch of new map features, including lakes, canyons, oases, maybe even a jungle biome, the revamped cliffs, new foliage, and especially uh, ocean seaweed and foliage. And then on top of that, there's new exploration opportunities in the water with ocean wreck buoys and dive sites that are being added to that. Oh, and I forgot to mention on the first run through, they're also introducing radiated water, which will be found in like barrels and stuff like that. And if mixed with other water sources, it'll turn that water irradiated as well. So a whole new thing with radioactive water coming in. And all this looks to be going live in October. Again, it's on Aux 2 and unavailable for public testing at the moment, but we will keep you posted as more comes to light and definitely give you a full rundown of what it looks like as soon as it's available for public consumption. Also, Hack Week continues, and this is where developers can pause on whatever they were tasked with doing and work on whatever they feel like doing. And from this, we see a lot of cool projects. Now, not all of them go live in the game, but I think there's a bunch of really cool ones being worked on in this Hack Week, and I hope to see most of them get added to the game. There's a Bandit King race, which is going to be an NPC car race started at Bandit Camp. There's box sorting, which will just allow for the automated sorting of various items in your boxes. There's colorblind accessibility, which is just new options for selecting different colors. If you are colorblind on various elements in the game, like the tree mark or the team UI stuff, things like that. There's a scrap plane being worked on, which could be the first fixed wing aircraft vehicle in the game. There's FP Rust Edit, which will be a tool, I believe, for making custom maps and could be the catalyst for a big resurgence in custom map creation. There's Arabic language support, so just adding support in the languages for that. There's car radios, so it's like basically the boombox, portable boombox functionality, but in a car radio. There's derp clean, which is just code cleanup and optimizations, a very welcome thing for added stability and performance. There's also new lights being worked on, fairy lights, industrial fluorescent lights, and maybe even a new deployable spotlight. And meals, so basically just the ability to combine different raw ingredients and make a meal that ideally is more nutritious and has better benefits than just default cooking. There's also a whole bunch of other stuff being worked on outside of Hack Week, the AI wolf iteration. So that's where wolves are going to have more coordinated attack and have wolf howls and react to torches and things like that. There's the Frontier Hazmat DLC, which is being worked on. It's going to have a new Frontier vibe hazmat suit, a high caliber revolver, and at least a hatchet, maybe even a pick as well. A lot of them have a pick. There's more work on animal ragdolls and the jungle ruins and various map performance fixes, which is always a cool thing to see, and work on some new explosion effects. So maybe some more high fidelity explosions when you're raiding and the like. There's more work on the Blunderbuster weapon, which is going to be that low tier single shot shotgun. There's a fix for the traveling vendor no longer marking sleepers as hostile. So if they sleep near a road, they won't get killed by the traveling vendor as it goes by. There's improvements to server analytics and more improvements to the building error system, which is this whole new system coming in September, which has the toast notifications instead of having just you can't build or whatever it says in the in-game chat. So it's better visuals and more verbose to let people know exactly why they can't build when they can't build. There's improved train uncoupling behavior and also improvements to horse physics being worked on. And that is what we've got going on in Rust development for the week. And that's wrapping up the recap right there.
I haven't seen more questions really, not with my name added, but a lot is going
Okay.
on in chat. So if they want their questions out, they should do at my name.
Well, cool. And I think with that, we are going to wind this puppy down. I do want to thank everyone for tuning in. Oftentimes, people think we're the developers of the game or we're on the Face Punch payroll, and neither of those are the case. We are just an independent organization who loves reporting on development news and running the best servers that we can. And the only way we can do that week after week, month after month, we've been doing this for 10 years now, is through the support of the community. So, to everyone who tunes in and watches, to people who give bits and subscribe on Twitch, and to our wonderful, beautiful, loyal VIP customers, thank you all so very much for the support. And thank you, Artemis and Miss D, for being my co MCs as always.
You're welcome as always.
Yep, you're welcome. Have a good week, guys.
Yeah, and a shout out to the whole team at Rustafied. Thank you all for the support and your contribution to helping keep the servers clean and all this stuff running. And a shout out to the whole team at Facepunch too for working on these updates for years on end and just providing new quality updates every month. This game truly is a unicorn, and it wouldn't be possible without the dedication, love, and support of the whole team at Facepunch. So much love to you all. And with that, we're going to wind this puppy down. We will be back same time, same place next week to give you a rundown of what is going on in Rust development. Also, make sure to check out rustified.com. I do an article there first thing each Thursday Eastern Time at midnight to give you a rundown of what is going on in Rust development in text and pictures. And also check us out on Twitter or X at Rustified as posting more stuff throughout the week as things hit staging so you can stay right on the pulse of what's going on in Rust development. But in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week and a wonderful wipe. This is Bugs signing off.